we're taking a look at Chapter 9 on Islam. The area of study is going to be this area known as the Arabian Peninsula. The people that live in that area, often referred to as the Bedouin. The Bedouin were nomadic herders that lived in that region. These nomadic herders traveled from place to place, moving their cattle to graze on land that was available. Around the perimeters of this peninsula is where there was a lot of coastal cities, basis for the trade that was moving across the peninsula from one area to another. And those traders, those caravan traders, are going to be important to us in learning about the spread of this religion. This is a map of the Arabian Peninsula. Key places I want you to see are this place here known as Mecca, and here's Medina. They're on this western coastline of the Arabian Peninsula. This shows you where modern-day Yemen and Oman are, and this is Saudi Arabia. Iran's up here. This is the Middle East. Egypt on this side, and you have the Nile River. But this is the birthplace of this religion we're studying, Islam. Muhammad. Muhammad is known as the Prophet of Islam. He was born in Mecca around 570 A.D. He had no formal education, made his living as a caravan trader. He was orphaned at the age of 6. Hanifs were the people that lived in that region when this new religion of Islam was created. The Arabs that were there were neither Christian nor Jew, although there were influences of those people as well. They worshipped, many of the people that had there previously worshipped many different gods. And instead of that, these Hanifs were ones that believed in one single God, and they believed in a solitary meditation to worship that God, if you will. And so when Muhammad starts talking about this new faith, this is exciting to them because it's a new idea that they're attracted to. So the beliefs are attracted Muhammad as well as Christians and others with their belief in a solitary God. Muhammad, at the age of 40, had a vision. Later, it's identified by some that the vision was of the angel Gabriel. It comes from Christian texts or whatever, which told him about to teach the word of Allah. And Allah would be just one God, the idea of a single God. The difference between this and Christianity is doesn't believe in the idea of the Holy Spirit or the Son of God, Jesus. There is only Allah, the one God. Right? He started preaching in Mecca as he had received this vision, telling others of this new prophecy. And they persecuted him because he really threatened their way of life. Religious leaders, the people who were in control, didn't want to see this new religion that was becoming very popular during this time. He flees Mecca and he goes on to Medina. We showed you those on the map just a minute ago to continue his teaching. This is known as the Hijrah, or the flight, when he flees Mecca to go to Medina. Medina allows this religion to flourish. There are many people who are attracted to Muhammad's teachings, this idea of the one God. And also the fact that it's a very portable religion. You don't have to go to a mosque or anything else. You can do this on your own. That's what a lot of people were interested in. Eventually, Mecca is overcome by the followers of Islam as it grows from Medina, and many of those people go back into Mecca, and those people who follow it are referred to now as Muslims, and many people are going to submit to this new religion. In Mecca, the statues of many gods are worshipped, or had been worshipped, at a place known as the Kaaba. And at the Kaaba, there are many different statues, there's religious artifacts, objects, and things of people. It was like a place where every religion could come and live among each other and practice in peace. Matter of fact, there was a requirement that you had to be peaceful. There was no fighting allowed around this shrine. Well, now that Islam grows so quickly, they take over the shrine and becomes its holiest place and a place of peace. Muhammad dies in 632 AD, right? At his death, many leaders, a large part of Arabia, had accepted Islam. The Islamic world was expanding rapidly as these traders and caravans stretched it all around the Middle East. The central beliefs of Islam: one, there is one God, only one God, right? He is not begotten, he has no children, he has no equal. He is the center of everything that's known, has created everything. The holy book of the Islamic teachings is known as the Quran, and it is said to be a book of moral teachings. As a matter of fact, it pulls from a lot of the teachings from the Torah and into the Bible. You see a lot of those things quoted within the Quran. It teaches the creation of the world by one God, Allah. That way it's similar to Christianity and Judaism. Its tenets are the 5 pillars. You must recite the profession of faith, which is, I bear witness that there is no deity except Allah, or God, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. You can see that in different ways. I'll say Muhammad is his prophet, or things like that. As there are differences, but the basic idea of it is there is only one God. That Muhammad brought forth this prophecy to the followers. You must pray 5 times a day, facing Mecca. You kneel on a prayer rug, you face Mecca, and 5 times a day you have to do this, which is fairly common. Give alms or money to the poor, to the needy. That's where you get the idea of helping people out in your community. Christianity talks about, giving a tithe, and that church would use the tithe to help people. I guess this is similar in that you're doing it on your own. Fasting from first light to sundown during the holy month of Ramadan. I don't know about you, but I think that would be kind of tough for me. You have to get up before sunup, have a breakfast. You could eat then. After sundown, you can eat at that point. But during the day, no food or drink. You're going to have to go without. Some of you probably do that on your own because you get busy in your lives and so forth and forget meals. But this is the tradition during that month of Ramadan, that you would sacrifice in this way. And if possible, you must make the pilgrimage to Mecca once in your lifetime. Okay? We'll get back to that one a little bit later. Here is Mecca. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing, but Saddam Hussein, as you guys probably know, the name is the perpetrator of the attacks on 9/11. I read a book about him, and his father made a lot of money in Saudi Arabia, and some of the things that he did was, for instance, he built this site around Mecca. It was a construction company. You see the size of this structure. It's absolutely enormous. It's as big as or bigger than many of our college stadiums that we have for watching football. And it's solely as a giant mosque that surrounds what's known as the Kaaba stone right here in the center. So that's the Bin Laden family that actually had built that. Here's the Kaaba in the center. You can see an up-close version. And you see the people, the followers, the worshipers that have come, and they travel around this big edifice. Others are sitting and watching, but it's like a 3-day ceremony, if I remember right, that you would go to and worship there as part of the 5 pillars. Here's another picture of it. You can kind of get a view from it from a higher viewpoint, highly dense area. This is Medina. This is what we said before, where he fled in the Hijrah to get away from the people who were attacking him when he first brought the prophecy forward. And it grew from Medina, so it's another one of their holiest sites. And this is also built by the Bin Laden family. Other restrictions under Islam: polygamy was common in Arabia, but it was not allowed under Islam. Muslim women gained property rights, able to own property and such. Slavery was discouraged as an act of goodliness. It's kind of like the idea of giving alms to the poor. We talked about that in a minute in the 5 pillars. This is one of the things that's encouraged, is that you would, free your slaves. Some do, some don't. Jihad. Muhammad emphasized that anyone who dies in the struggle to defend the faith dies as a martyr and receives the blessings of God and rewards in the end. Some interpret this differently than others. The extremists believe, and this means killing all those who are considered the infidel, the people who don't practice the faith or believe in it. Others look at this as being prepared to defend your religion to others who criticize or attack it in some way, just in a peaceful way. Most peaceful Muslims, obviously, that's what they would embrace. Mosques have no religious images or statues, no elaborate ceremonies or priesthood within them. Typically at services, male, educated leaders guide the others in worship, the ones who are most knowledgeable, and women have to stay at home or use a separate section in the mosque. They don't worship next to their male relatives, husbands, and such. There's definite gender roles or differences within the religion as to what your purpose is in life and such. And one of the places they separate themselves is here in the worship at the mosque. A caliph means successor to the prophet. Abu Bakr was the first one chosen by Muhammad as his successor, and as the caliph is the new prophet, the new person in charge. His successor was Umar, but this leads to a split within the followers of Islam, the Muslim people. Who should choose the successor? Who should be successor? Should it, should it be the family of the previous successor, like you do in dynasties or whatever, in monarchies, so you follow the father to son, or should it be chosen as an election by the people? You're going to be seeing this separation between the two. The spread of Islam. In 25 years, the empire included Syria, Persia, and much of North Africa. In battle, Muslims expanded their empire and were far more tolerant than other people, less cruel to the people who they conquered. Typically, you either paid tribute or you converted to the faith. Tribute meaning the payments could allow you to continue your religion or your belief system, but you still had to pay the empire. Muslims had success in taking control of the Mediterranean islands, but failed in taking Constantinople, which we learned from the last chapter, an important place on the great trade routes, and it was something that they felt like they really needed. North African Muslims, called the Berbers, take Jabal Tariq, known as Gibraltar, or the Mountain of Tariq. It's right on the Straits of Gibraltar, and they crossed over there and were able to raid into territory that was previously dominated by the Visigoths. And the people that take over this new land in Spain, the Muslims of Spain, become known as the Moors. And the Moors succeeded in conquering Spain, infiltrating it all the way into Europe, all the way up into the territory that was known as, becomes known as France, eventually receding back into Spain and ruled there for 700 years. Divisions, well, it always seems like there's rifts that develop between the followers in reference to the leaders or the caliphs. The controversy over Muslim leaders created separation within the faith, and two groups emerge. Divisions are going to be Sunnis and Shia. And we'll get into that in the next segment of this lecture. We'll stop there. Thank you.